Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of books that Allison thought were going to be awesome and then they ended up not being quite so awesome. So this is my weekly reading update video, and this week I only managed to get through one book, and it was kind of a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie, this book has been not for me, not really hyped so much as in so many people have really loved it, so I was expecting to also kind of enjoy it, and I did. I enjoyed probably the first third of the book, and then the rest of it kind of like devolved into just a mess of what the heck is even happening. I don't know. I really wanted to like this book and it just didn't work out. It didn't work out for me. See, the book I'm talking about is The Poppy War by RF Quang, and I'm just so disappointed that this book was not as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm just so sad because I really wanted to like it. I really did. So this book follows one main character. Her name is Rin, and can I just talk about these names for just a second? So Rin is a nickname, and it's short for Runin, which I think is very beautiful. I really like that name. I think it's absolutely wonderful. But I just want to know why authors keep having characters that have like 3 letters in their name. It drives me kind of crazy. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's like very polarizing. Like, either your fantasy names are like 1,000,000 letters long and you cannot figure out how to say them, or they're like 3 letters long and they're just kind of like boring. I don't know. Rin is just like super boring to me. I don't know why. I just don't like. I would much rather prefer that her name was Runin in the story. I mean, that is her name, but she's not called by that. Like, she refers to herself as Rin. Her friends call her Rin, and I just don't like it. I just don't appreciate it. Runin is beautiful. I love that name. Rin is just dumb. Like, it just sounds so stupid. Like, it does not, to me, it takes away a lot of the like weight of a character. I don't know. Like, names are very important, and to take a name as beautiful as Runin and shorten it to something Rin that literally means nothing, I just don't like it. I just really don't. So before I just continue talking about this book, this is going to be like my impromptu review of this book. I just finished reading it this morning. I have a lot of thoughts that I'm not really sure I can like talk about very well because like I just finished reading it. So I started reading this book last weekend I started reading it, and I don't know, I don't remember how much I read the first time. It wasn't very far, but I was literally loving it. So it starts off, and I talked about this a lot in my last reading update because I had started it before I filmed that update. So last week's update, I talked about this book and how much I loved it. I can't remember how far I had gotten into it at that point, but I did. Like, there's an academy and all of this cool like school type. It had a school type feel to it, and I really liked that. I was disappointed that there was not more time spent developing the world through this academy setting. Like, this girl is gone off to basically a war academy. Like, she's learning how to be a soldier, but being a soldier is not just learning how to fight. There's so many other things that you need to learn, like history and strategy and all of these other interesting things, but there was just no time spent on that stuff. It quickly devolved into like spiritual type stuff. Like in this book, they're called shamans, and they can become like conduits for the gods, and I thought that was really interesting. There is a lot of drug usage in this book, which I guess, like, I think I knew that was going to be a thing. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just kind of like, oh, that's going to be like a prominent feature in this book, and it is. There's a lot of drug usage in this book. But I really liked the first part. So this book is split into 3 parts. The first part focuses on Rin and her journey at the academy and kind of the things that she's learning, and she discovers some things about herself that are pretty important to the story, and it's great. Her character development is pretty good throughout the first part. You get to the second part and things are going, like, something major happens at the end of the first part, and the second part is like what happened, like the rest of the story after that. And it starts off pretty decent. She gets placed in with a group of people that are like her, and I just expected like a sort of camaraderie to be happening, like take any like basic manga or anime type story where they're going on a trip, like a journey, and you got this conglomeration of all sorts of weirdos, and they have cool powers, and they're snarky, and the banter is great. That's what I was kind of expecting with this book, and that did not happen. Rin is at odds with everyone constantly all the time. She's very childish. She's rash, and I know that's part of her like character, like that's her personality, but she just doesn't think things through, and then when crap hits the fan, she just blames everybody else, and all of these other external forces are the reason for why everything is going bad, and she's just angry all the time, and she's just completely unrelatable for me. I just was having a really hard time. I really related with her in the first part of the book because she like worked really hard to achieve something and she got it, and then she went to this amazing school where she was learning all of these cool things, and I'm like, yes, the never-ending learner inside of me was like, yes, she's learning all this awesome stuff and I'm gonna learn some great things about this world, and then I didn't, which that's fine, that's whatever. If the author doesn't want to like do a lot of like background and stuff for characters in the world, that's fine. I kind of knew what was going on for the most part, but after the second part started and then the third part was just the worst for me. There's a chapter in the third part of this book, it's chapter 21, and if you are a sensitive reader at all whatsoever, please don't read this book, or just skip that chapter. If you really want to read this book and you're sensitive at all like me, please don't read that chapter, just skip it. You literally are not going to miss anything because literally no plot development and no character development happens in that chapter. It's just disgusting. It completely is gross, and I really, for those of you that have read this book and you're like, well, that's kind of what it was like, and I'm like, I get it. I understand that the author has pulled a lot of her inspiration for this book from something that actually happened in history. It was like the wars between Japan and China. I can't remember when they happened, and this is not something that I learned in school, so I literally have no context for it. It very much reminded me of how the Germans treated the Jews during World War II. Just the blatant like disregard for humanity, that's kind of a major theme in this book, and chapter 21 is full of just gross, nasty, I was really glad I hadn't eaten previously to reading that chapter because it was just disgusting. It was so disgusting. Some people label that as like grimdark, and I'm like, no, this is just not. It's gross. I understand the point to it. Like the author was just like, this is what happens when another group of people thinks that they are above, you know, another group of people, and they no longer look at that group of people as humans. They're just things to be used and abused and discarded when they're done with them, and it was just horrible. I think I understand what the author was trying to get across with that, but did it need to be a whole chapter? And the chapters in this book are not short. I'm talking like 20 to 30 pages per chapter. These chapters, that was another one of my complaints. I much prefer books that have shorter chapters just because it holds my interest more, but if I gotta plow through 30 pages to get through one chapter and nothing's really going on, then that's just not my preferred reading style. So that was another thing that irritated me. But chapter 21, if that could have been a chapter that was spent on progressing character development and plot development really well, and it really didn't. It didn't. It was basically, I think, shock factor, like this crappy, disastrous, horrible, tragic thing happened in this world, in this book, and it didn't really do anything. It didn't progress. Like there was no character development that came out of it. There was no plot development that came out of it. It was just there for whatever reason, I don't know. But it was nasty, and I could have lived without reading that. Now I have all of these images in my mind. I don't really want to like say what it was. I guess if you're a sensitive person and you don't want to hear parts of what was in that chapter, then like skip a little bit. And one of the things that stuck out to me the most was one of the characters was describing what had happened in this city that had gotten sacked by the bad guys, and they were taking babies, the people that were, you know, destroying this city, they were taking babies and they were throwing them in the air, and they were seeing if they could cut them in half before they hit the ground with their swords. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I had to read in that chapter. And I just am not okay with that kind of stuff. I would have preferred to have known that that was in this book before I even picked it up, or I probably would not have even went for it. Sensitive readers can unmute me now. I'm done talking about it because I don't even want to think about it. So yeah, I could have lived without that being in the book. So moving on to maybe somewhat better things. By the end of the book, the main character, instead of having character development, had character regression. I'm not gonna continue the series. I know that this is a huge, like, minority opinion about this book. I did read some reviews of other people not liking, or like people that didn't really like the book, but they just read it anyways, and they had much the same things to say about it as I do. Like, the first part of the book was really good, and then the second two parts were not so great, and just the main character being one of the main complaints. I did see a review on Goodreads. Someone said that reading books by people of color is important even if it's flawed, and I liked that, because we're all human and we don't write perfect things. So, and I've read tons of books by white authors that I've had the same kinds of feelings about as I do about this book. So, like, that has literally nothing to do with the person's ethnicity. That has no bearing on it whatsoever. I want to read stories that I love, and this was just not one of them. So I don't know. I can't say I'm glad I read the book, but I don't know. I would not have been missing anything if I didn't read it. This book, I gave it a rough rating because I don't even want to write a review for it. That's how much it bothered me. So I gave this book like a really low 3 out of 5 stars. There was just nothing in it that compelled me to even read the next 2 books, which is really sad. I really wanted to like this book, and I just didn't end up liking it. So those are my thoughts on the Poppy War, and I just want to be done talking about it and kind of wish I could forget that I read it. So let's see. Since this is an update video, I need to talk about my plans for the coming week, which today is May 28th. So May is almost over. I have not yet filmed my May TBR, although I do know what I am going to be reading next month. But my plan right now for over the next couple of days is to actually listen to an audiobook. I'm going to pick up the Two Towers audiobook, and I will link that below, because if you've been on my channel before and you've seen me talk about the Fellowship of the Ring, I found an amazing audiobook for that one, and they're available for free on the internet. It is actually a fan project, and it's probably the best audiobook I've ever listened to in my life. Okay, I can't really say like I have extensive experience with audiobooks because I don't listen to that many audiobooks, but this one is epic. I absolutely loved it. So I'm gonna link that, the Two Towers, that audiobook below in the description box for you guys, so you can check that out. And the reason I am going with an audiobook is, 1, because this book was already on my May TBR and I didn't get to it, and 2, because I've really been wanting to play Animal Crossing, and I cannot play Animal Crossing and read a physical book at the same time. I have to pick one or the other, and with an audiobook, I can put an audiobook on and listen to it and play my game at the same time. And that is my plan going forward. So that's probably going to carry over into June, which is okay because I can't always play Animal Crossing and I can't always read. So my plan is to also be reading a physical book at the same time, so that I can still play my game and read a book, and then also read a physical book on my TBR. So that is basically my plan. The physical book that I'm going to be starting for next week is The Girl in the Stars by Mark Lawrence. This is one that has been on my TBR quite a few times, and it's one of the last books I have for my 2020 books, so the books that I purchased in 2020 that carried over to 2021. This is one of the last ones that I have to read, and the sequel to this one just came out probably a couple of months ago. I think it came out in March, and I've been wanting to pick it up but also kind of hesitating because I don't want to spend the money on it if I don't end up liking this one. So I'm gonna be reading this first thing in June, and that is basically all of my reading plans for the next few days. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? In my last video I did like my favorite moments or like things that I've been loving lately. And I was trying to come up with something earlier, and I'm just not someone that tries new things all the time. So I really don't have, like, I'm not going to be on here every week and be like, oh, look at this new discovery I found this week. So I don't really think I have anything that, like, to share that way. But I think that one of my favorite moments from this week was actually, it happened this morning. Was sitting at the table with my kids doing school, and for those of you who don't know, I have an 8-year-old son and a 4-year-old son, and they were talking about this weekend, and they were asking me if their dad had to work on Saturday, and I was like, no, Dad doesn't have to work Saturday. And they're like, oh yay, so he'll be home when we get home. And I was like, yep, he'll be home, because they go spend the night at my mom's house on Friday night, and they don't come back until Saturday afternoon. So they're excited that their dad's gonna be home tomorrow. And then the next thing they asked, they were asking if they had to do school on Monday, and I was like, at first I was like, yeah, we gotta do school on Monday, you know, normal routine. And I was like, oh wait, no we don't, because it's Memorial Day, and in the US that's a holiday, so we won't be doing school on Monday. And then they were like, we won't be doing school? And then the little one, the 4-year-old, goes, does Dad have to work Monday? And I said, nope, Dad doesn't have to work Monday. And he gets like this huge grin on his face, the most adorable thing ever, and he goes, yay, that means I can hug him all I want. And I just was like, aw, that's so cute. 4-year-olds say like the cutest things. The 8-year-old is just a sassy brat now, but the 4-year-old still says adorable things, and I really like it. So that was probably my favorite moment from the week, a little bit of a mom thing. What else do I have to talk about? The weather today is so weird. It's super windy outside, and it's really, really cold. Like last night, I think it got like 30 some degrees last night, and I'm like, guys, it's May. What? It's almost June. Like, it's almost summer. What the heck is going on? Like, it needs to warm up already. So, yeah, I think this one's just gonna be a short and sweet one this week. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments, and I would love to continue this conversation. Let me know what you guys are reading this week. I would absolutely love to know what you guys are reading or watching or listening to or whatever it is. Leave that stuff in the comments below too. I'd love to know. I guess I will see you guys in another video. Bye!